podcast. I'm Barrett McNabb, and with me is Kimberly McNabb, and we are live at a Ted Cruz rally in the Heights, Texas, which is a little small inlet inside the city of Houston. And we are here on a law enforcement and public safety campaign stop for the senator. So we're really excited to be here. You can see behind us, the crowd is electric, and there are a lot of people here. And we're just having a good time. Kimberly, what do you say?
Yeah, I see a lot of Trump gear, and of course we're here for Senator Ted Cruz. We're big fans of his, and everyone's having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're going to just do a quick pan so you can see. All right, as we're just panning around, you can see this is such a great crowd. A lot of people here. We have a lot of law enforcement, a lot of the public as well, and so this is just an amazing event, and I'm so glad that we're here. We're glad that you're here with us. We're supposed to be here from 5:30 p.m. Central Time until 8 o'clock, and we don't know what the order is, but I imagine that there's going to be a number of law enforcement that are speaking. So again, we're recording this as far as a live stream, but we're also going to be posting this to our YouTube channel as well.
Hit like and subscribe.
Yes, absolutely. Please hit like and subscribe. And like I said, if you hear people yelling and screaming, that's because people are having fun. And that's the best thing about being here in a Republican rally, is that people like to have fun.
Yep. We saw one lady dressed up in a Statue of Liberty costume with Trump in sequins on the back, so hopefully we'll get a shot of her.
Yeah, absolutely. It was super nice. And so again, like I said, I imagine there's going to be a number of law enforcement that are going to speak. And we'll also have an opportunity to it looks like there's a picture where you can take pictures with Ted Cruz, with the senator. And maybe we'll get to ask him a question. Maybe not. Who knows? But you'll have to stick around in order to find out. But again, the crowd is absolutely electric. Good music is playing. A lot of people are just having a good time. They're shaking hands. People know each other, and people also are just getting to know each other. And it's a pretty cool venue here at the King's Bierhaus. They do a lot of German food, and you ought to come check it out. I know they have a number of locations around Houston. I don't know if they're a national franchise, and they're not sponsored at all by this. We just happen to be here.
Have good German food.
Yep, absolutely. So, Kimberly, I know you're going to need to speak up really loud, more so because we're in such a loud environment.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird having people turn around and look at you.
It is, but we have to keep doing it in order to make sure that we can be heard over the crowd, because it's electric. But Senator Cruz was elected in 2012. Running as a Tea Party candidate, and he has really just kind of taken the Senate by storm. He's had a lot of notable activities that he's done, including reading Green Eggs and Ham during a filibuster hearing in the Senate floor. And good on him for utilizing what he needed to do in order to get stuff done for the American people.
Yep, and he's really good at spreading the word for conservatism with his podcast, the Verdict podcast with Ted Cruz.
Right. Now, I haven't actually gotten a chance to hear it, but you're an avid listener. What are some of the subjects that he covers?
Well, he talks a lot about Israel. He talks about the persecution of Donald Trump, and he talks about some of the behind legalese, and is able to break it down in ways that even I can understand.
Okay. Well, we might move Kimberly's microphone into her hand, and she can hold it near her mouth. We'll try that. Nope, and it's falling. Okay, got the magnet. Little technical difficulties. All right, there we go. Okay, so like I said, the event should be starting pretty soon, and hopefully we get our first speaker coming up. Obviously, it's 5:30, which is why we kicked off the podcast already, the live stream. But we'll go ahead and give you another pan of what's going on. In front of us, we have a stage with the Texas flag. Over to the right, we have an area, it looks like that's going to be photographs that you'll be able to take possibly with the senator. Hopefully we'll be able to do that as well. But I'll do a quick slow pan just so you can see just how many people are here at this event. And it is nice. We have dedicated media and their cameras in the back over there. We elected to try and get a little closer to the action than to be that far away. But you can just see exactly how big this location is and just how many people are here.
There are probably more people here than showed up the Atlanta Kamala Harris event.
Yeah, I bet you're right. I bet you're right. So yeah, so people are already getting drinks. Like I said, it is a Bierhaus that serves German food, and it's just an awesome place we actually come here a couple of times with the kids, and you're able to spread out a little bit. They have a garden area that's out, and it's really, really nice.
And in the cooler months, they have a glow vine, which is delicious.
Yes, absolutely. So you have that glow vine, which is a German staple in the winter months, where it's a hot spiced molded wine, and I do make it at home sometimes as well. All right, we're gonna keep panning so that you can just see how electric this place is right now. And yep, there's the media back there. We don't know who they're affiliated with. But we did have to get tickets for this, so there are a set number of people that are allowed into the location. And we did get here. We got here about 30 minutes prior to the event kicking off.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really nice. We have another camera that's up at a different angle as well. And we're just super excited, and we're waiting for our first speaker. Please make sure you're hitting a like and subscribe as people continue to move forward into the area. It looks like somebody's directing traffic, so we may have our first speaker coming up pretty soon. We'll go ahead and rotate it back around. All right, so we're at the very final last row. We didn't want to get a seat. There were a couple of seats available, but we didn't want to be in the crowd. We wanted kind of to be off to the side so that we could, one, kind of be out of the way, but two, be able to set up our camera equipment, because I have another dedicated camera that's over here recording, so that we can have some B-roll and things like that for the podcast. But Kimberly, what are some of the things that you expect Senator Cruz to say tonight?
Well, it's a law enforcement and public safety rally, so we'll probably talk about policies that affect our public safety. I know on the Next Door Neighbor app, I see people talking about, a drunk person fell asleep on our front doorstep, right. And people have to get to work and they have to get to church and stuff, and so that's a public safety concern, and more break-ins and whatnot, and policies and enforcement of policies affect those things.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you recall the podcast episode where we had a naked woman come up and sit in between our garbage cans, and we had to call the police, that was not on our bingo card, but it happened, and thank God our kids weren't there. And we just want to make sure that our streets are safe. Again, this is a law enforcement rally, so we do have a lot of law enforcement here with us. And hopefully they get an opportunity to speak. Hopefully they get to talk about plans of action. I know the Democrats are reporting that crime is going down. Well, I would have to argue that crime is not being reported.
Right.
And so they're talking to people about not having crime get reported. And so the statistics go down if it never reaches the level where there is a case that has been submitted.
Yep, I mean, it's like a child not saying that, it's not saying anything about a teacher hurting them. Well, you think everything's hunky-dory in class, so. Right,
exactly. But still, the damage is already being done. So we're seeing, an influx in crime from illegal immigrants, which, by nature, I've seen signs that say no human being is illegal. Nobody's saying human beings are illegal, but when you walk into the nation and cross the border, you're breaking the law, which makes that a crime.
Actions are illegal.
The action is illegal. And so I think it's a little disingenuous for people to say that no human being is illegal, but still we're seeing this uptick in crime from illegal aliens that are coming across the border. I mean, first off, there are ports of entry that they could get into, and so it'd be different if there was not a port of entry, or if there was not a consulate or embassy in their country, their home country, then we would be able to to have different words. But the fact that they can come in and they can actually go to a port of entry, allows them to be legal immigrants into the country. But so we are seeing this big uptick in illegal immigrant crime. Just today, there was a news story where an illegal immigrant had a child and was worried that her boyfriend would be mad, and so she gave birth and put the umbilical cord and the placenta and the baby in a trash can and put it in a dumpster. Now, it's August. It's currently August in Texas, and it gets really hot. And so that baby, had it not been heard crying, would have definitely been killed. But luckily, somebody heard it and was able to rescue that baby. And the woman who's 18 years old was arrested. But still, it's this kind of thing that we're seeing, is that been reported as a crime. And hopefully it has. I know in Houston we have an uptick in cases that haven't been processed. But still, I think the law enforcement that we have is dedicated to making sure all of us are safe. And if you recall, I have a criminal justice degree from Sam Houston State University. So, as far as criminology goes, they're going to speak my words here. They're going to speak community-based policing. They're going to speak broken windows theory, and so we're going to make sure that we bring these things to you so that you can make your own decisions. Now, Kimberly, you've read Ted Cruz's latest book.
Yes. One of the things it talks about is how Marxism leaked into the universities and, of course, spread from there. People used to think, they'll get out of college and grow up and get jobs and get mature and realize the truth about things. Well, the problem is they spread that ideology to everything else. His dad was born in Cuba and left Cuba, and so Ted Cruz grew up hearing stories about what it was like under Castro and just how bad it was. So the interesting thing is Rimsky wrote a book from prison. He was a Marxist, and his book was translated in 1972, I believe it was. And guess who got that to be taught in the universities? Pete Buttigieg's father.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, I wonder how a mayor of a small town got to be in such a high position in the U.S. government.
Right.
Daddy, good old daddy, love nepotism.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know that we're going to actually, I don't want to call it a book report, but Kimberly here, she takes notes as she reads some of this political literature, and if you look at what Ted Cruz wrote, he has an amazing citation list in there as well. So, I'm looking forward to doing an in-depth, deep dive on that later as well. But I tell you what, it is August and it is hot, and there are a lot of people here.
Yeah,
so I apologize
if we start
if I'm
sweating.
But I'm wearing my uniform that I usually have on, which is is my blazer and long shirt combo that my signature trademark that I'm trying to do, and I tell you what, August is pushing it outside in doing that.
And I would personally say September is even worse.
Okay. Okay.
Fall, we don't know fall.
Yeah, and I always tell people in Houston, especially, that we have two seasons. We have summer and we have February, and that's pretty much it. So here comes some media folks taking some B-roll, and that's pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and turn it around just to kind of show everybody. So he's got the good gear. We're running on pitiful gear compared to what this guy's got. Oh yeah. All right, we're going to continue to look around. People are getting the crowd hyped up, so hopefully we're about to see something pretty soon. I'd love to be able to get there and see somebody. All right, we'll flip this thing around. Okay. Look at that, we're learning. I'm doing better with the camera than we did the last time. All right. Yeah, we got a bunch of people that are. Some people are hiding. Some people are trying to get in the camera. Some people are waving. So it's good. So so this whole evening is Law Enforcement for Cruz, and I'm just super excited that we're going to be doing that.
Excuse me.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we don't have our computer with us, so we're not able to see the chat like we were the last time and be able to type and answer questions for chat. So if you are leaving comments in the chat bar, I apologize that we're not going to be able to get to them. I think we can get to them later after everything is done. But yeah, so again, more and more people are getting in here. That might be why there's a small delay. But still, it's awesome. I'm really glad that we have a bunch of people. I think the high count that we've had was 4 people, and we've already gotten 2 likes. So if you can go ahead and hit that like button as well, we'd really appreciate it. Okay, Kimberly, what are some other things from Ted Cruz's book that you can think of offhand?
Well, he did mention where he was on 9/11 and seeing how things unfolded there. Now, he wasn't a senator yet, but I believe he clerked for Rehnquist.
Yeah.
So he had some personal stories from that. So that's pretty cool to hear about those.
Yeah, that is. I mean, if you think about it, the big news today, other than being here at Ted Cruz's campaign rally, but the big news today was having Tim Walz as the VP pick, and that's going to be an interesting one because he is a retired command sergeant major. He was an artilleryman in the Army National Guard, but still he is not really known as a law and order governor. I mean, he really had an inept response to the BLM riots that were in Minneapolis, and Kamala Harris at the time was raising funds to bail the people out that were burning down buildings. So I mean, what a team these guys make.
Yeah, I won't be surprised at all if that is mentioned tonight. Because we actually want laws enforced, and they're, proof is in the pudding. Actions speak louder than words. So when they're like, "Oh, it's Kamala Harris, persecutor versus felon," well, you're charging parents with their minors being delinquent, but letting BLM rioters get to walk off. I'd say that speaks louder than your words.
Yeah, I mean that's not law and order at all. I'd be interested to know what some of the law enforcement. Obviously, these are going to be Texas law enforcement that are here tonight. I would say. I mean, you may get a national sheriff or something like that wants to come in and talk. But still, I want to say this is probably going to be local law enforcement in the city of Houston, in the county of Harris County. Maybe you get some Montgomery County or even Galveston County people. But yeah, it would it would be interesting to see some of the law enforcement. I mean, obviously, just like the military, you can tell who's law enforcement in here. You're seeing some good cowboy hats and high and tight haircuts, and they're kind of belying themselves a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So what are some of the things that you've heard so far about Tim Walz?
So one thing I think people are not going to do their research, and they're just going to say, "Oh, well, he was in the National Guard. That sounds good. Oh, he was a teacher. That sounds good. And he might know how to fix some of our education problems." And that's just, you got to dive deeper, just like anything else. He went and taught in China for a year, and so he may have picked up some of his ideas there. And just the other day, I believe it was, he said that, one person's socialism is another person's being a good neighbor. And
right.
I'm like, you could be a good neighbor without being a socialist, because being a socialist is not going to hurt just 1 or 2 people or some evil rich billionaire. It's going to hurt everybody.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the problem is words matter. And when you have somebody that's using inflammatory language like this, it's really yeah, here we go. Some famous people. So words matter, and having the a governor talk about positive socialism, or saying it's neighborly potentially to be a socialist.
Yeah, let's ask Venezuela.
Yeah, absolutely. It really damages our country. It has the ability to normalize this type of political rhetoric. I mean, you look at Venezuela, and they were the socialist government there was elected democratically. I've always said for democratic socialism, it's democratic once.
Yeah, exactly.
Socialism is
and then it's just socialism.
And then you're just going to cheat the elections, and you'll never get a chance to get out of it. Obviously, we have in the recent Venezuelan elections last week. The opposing person got 80% of the vote, but lo and behold, the current regime gets to stay in place because they got 51% or 60%. And everybody and their brother and sister has said that this is obviously disingenuous, but still, I mean, give me a break. If you vote for socialism, you vote for it one time because it never goes away.
Yep.
I mean, what was it? I think it was Margaret Thatcher that said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money, and that's really what it's going to happen. I mean, we see socialism fail everywhere that it is brought up. We see democratic socialists and socialists like the liberals that are in the current ticket, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. When they talk about socialism, they're like, well, you're just doing it wrong. We know how, we are the ones.
Yes,
that know
because
how to
you're
do
so
this.
much smarter than everyone else.
Right.
Exactly. After so many times of it being tried, how about you take the history lesson and move on?
Right. Well, I tell you, again, we've got more people that look like staffers that are walking around. A lot of pointing, a lot of people coming in from the back that I didn't see come in from the front. So hopefully we're about to get this on the road, and it'll be really cool to see, what the agenda is. Because again, we haven't been given an agenda, but for 2.5 hours to be speaking, it seems like there's going to be a number of people that are going to be talking.
Yeah, and most likely Ted Cruz is not going to be the first one to talk. I mean, you go to any rally, it's the big name ticket that goes last.
Right.
Like you go to a comedy show, it's not going to be the headliner that goes first. They're going to go last.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go ahead, and we got even more people in here. I'm going to turn this around so that people can see. All right. So we got a lot of people here. Really enjoying this. We're 22 minutes into this live stream. And again, this place is packed. As it should be, because we're all excited for Ted Cruz. Yep. Oh, and we have Caroline Kane, who is running for District 7 of Congressional District 7, which is currently a Democrat-held seat. But, hopefully she can flip that thing red. She is actually, if she wins, she'll be our congressman where we live. And so it's really cool to see her, here at this rally. And hopefully she's getting some good press as well. So, yeah, already we're already seeing a bunch of people. And, super excited to be here. And, that was unexpected to see her, here in the election. Yeah, so we would love to have her win and flip that seat. The 7th district has moved around a lot, in so much that it is it's currently, like I said, it's been held as a Democrat seat for the past couple of congressional seasons. This would be the third session or election for it to be held. But it used to be kind of meandered it to help out Republicans retain seats because, as you recall, we gained a congressional seat in the last census. California lost a congressional seat. So
I wonder why.
Yeah, so we got their congressional seat, and so they had to shoehorn in a good district, and I believe it was Wes Hunt. His district is the one that was carved off of the 7th in order to make sure that he would be able to take advantage of that. So you have Dan Crenshaw, the famous Navy SEAL, that kind of took over some of the 7th, moved up further north to Kingwood, and then you have Wesley Hunt, and then this new district has been restructured. Now, Caroline Kane, she ran in a primary of 4 people and had to do a runoff, and she won the runoff. And so it's super exciting to see her here. We need to let her know eventually that we're going to be supporting her and voting for her. We did vote for her for the runoff, and so it's cool that she's here, mingling with the crowd. And this is at the very far north. I want to say it's the very far northeast of her district, of the 7th congressional district, because we're in the Heights right now, and it kind of bisects just a little bit. So so we're super excited that we're here, and as she makes her way down, maybe we can get a comment from her. That would be really cool, because she's shaking people's hands and stuff like that, and so hopefully we can get a comment.
Oh yeah. Now, what have you heard about, who was it that passed away recently? Barbara Lee?
Yes.
Jackson Lee?
Jackson Lee, yep.
Yeah, so do we know who's going to take over her seat?
I need to educate myself on whether or not it's an immediate special election that occurs, or if it is someone, if the governor gets to appoint somebody. I know they appoint senators. I'm not sure about congressmen.
Well,
so that's a great question. I'll do the research and find out.
I think it may be a runoff, and I read somewhere that Sylvester Turner, our last mayor, is going to go for it, which I'm not pleased about, because he had a lot of grift when he was a mayor of Houston.
Well, yeah, there were a number of investigations that the FBI did on his staff, and so I mean, it would be kind of disingenuous to run for an election while your staff and some of your hard drives in office have been seized by the FBI.
Well, he is a Democrat.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, like I said, we're almost 30 minutes into this live stream, and we haven't seen anybody yet. So I don't know if the 5:30 was including the fact that there were going to be just getting more people in here.
Well, it is Houston traffic.
That's true. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they had it at 5:30, because that's when a lot of people are getting off work. And so it was definitely interesting to see this. And so she's making her way down. Hopefully we can ask her if she'd give us a comment. Please. We've had a maximum of 4 people that are on this live stream, and we really now we're up to 3 currently. So if you hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. Something I've noticed on the last few videos that we have done is that there have been more dislikes than likes, and really it's Democrats and liberals that are hating our message. And and so if you're a Republican, or you're a conservative, if you're an independent, we really do ask you, hit that like button, because it costs you nothing. It costs you nothing, and your name is not associated with it if that's what you're worried about. But hitting that like button really helps us out, because it allows our message to spread. It'd be nice if YouTube did have like a profile where you could put yourself down as a conservative, and we could put ourselves down as a conservative podcast, and so it would get spread to the conservatives, which would obviously help us out, because the liberals hate our message because it's a winning message, and they hate our message because it's the truth. So
I don't know if I'd like that option, because people who just want to hate on someone might go to that filter, look up the conservatives, like, okay, I'm just going to mass hate all these people, blah blah blah, and pour acid on them.
Well, I think that's a good point. That's an absolute good point, and I think that's kind of what's happening now, is that we have some people that are watching our podcast just to hate on us, because I said, we get a lot of positive comments,
and we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. It helps get our message out. We get thumbs up, but for instance, like the JD Vance, where we debunked his cat lady's comment, and we had the rest of the video that showed that he was not. That he was, there was more to his story. He wasn't talking about Jennifer Aniston. He was talking about the political elites who are making policy. And, we got a bunch of dislikes on that. And I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, all we're showing you is the truth.
Well, some people don't like the truth.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. But you should like the truth. And that's one of the things that we like bringing you. Good, bad, and different. I mean, we poke fun at everybody. If a Republican makes a mistake, we poke a little bit of fun. If a Democrat makes a mistake, we poke a lot of fun. It's just the nature of the business. But still, we're happy to be here. So again, I'm going to show you again how electric this room is. And I want to keep doing this because I want you to see just how many people are here. I mean, it is a great room. And I'm thinking that wearing my signature blazer was the wrong call.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is, like I said, there are more and more people that are coming in and out of that back area. So I'm hoping that somebody, our first speaker, is getting ready to show up a little bit. Because now we're at 30 minutes in, so we got 2 hours left of the event. So yeah. Anyway, you need to make sure you leave us a comment. We can't read them right now, but we'll get back to them when we get a chance. And we're just super excited to be here. We're super excited that you guys are supporting us, and we're getting our message out. And it's a good message. I think because it's the truth, and really we're coming at it from this mom and dad point of view. Now, here we go. We got some comments that are coming in.
Oh, awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Shalom back. All right. We hope everybody, if you are in Israel right now, we hope everybody's staying safe. Obviously, the United States has moved a lot of military assets into the Red Sea and in the Persian Gulf to be able to potentially intercept any ballistic missiles that are coming from Iran. There's reporting that Iran is preparing to attack, and I would assume, it may be some standard rocket attack, missile attack, but also some asymmetric attack as well, because the last time, 2 months ago, they launched 300 missiles, and almost all of them were intercepted. And so they know that's not going to be a wise avenue. So it may be a combination attack, but still, if you're in Israel, I hope God is with you, and we're really super happy to have you here, and I hope that you just stay safe. And the United States is with you, even though the Democrats aren't.
They're fighting a fight so we don't have to one day, and we would be hurting right now because I think Ukraine just got a bunch of equipment as well. So
right.
We're low.
Right.
And I just saw a comment say, "God bless Texas." Thank you very much, and God bless wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And this has been such a fun time, and we're just on this cool ride. This month we're going to do an episode, but this is our 1 year anniversary of doing this podcast, and to already be at 24,000 subscribers, is just amazing. We're just so happy that we've gotten a chance to, one, be together and do this, because it's just been so much fun doing this with my wife. But it's just been a hoot getting to know a lot of you. I mean, we get a lot of regulars that leave comments, and it just makes it cool to be able to have regular conversations with people that watch our videos. And to get comments from people like your videos need to have deserve way more views than it gets. Well, it'll take time, and we'll get there because we have a great message. I think we have a great platform. We've got great stories. Kimberly is so smart and adds so much to the conversation. And I love talking my military stories, and it's just super cool. So I'm going to flip it around because we have somebody doing mic checks on the stage, and I just want to see if that is going to do anything for us. And this young gentleman, he's got his little microphones out, and he's done a mic check. All right, and I got an awesome message that said that the SD card has been, it's full. So on our secondary camera. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this over, this platform over to the other. So bear with me if you see some camera shake. I'm going to see if I can transfer our main one over to the camera here. And Kimberly, just give us a quick description while I'm doing this of what you see here and that's going on in the room.
Yeah. So talk about the room or your equipment?
The room.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, there are a lot of older people here. Older people tend to be more politically engaged and active, but I have seen some people in their 20s. I saw one kid. He looks like a legitimate kid, so that's pretty cool that he's interested in politics. And people run the gambit. And the ladies, they know how to deck it out. I saw the lady in the Statue of Liberty with the sparkly Trump on the back. So I love that. Saw a group of people with yellow shirts and red sequins spelling out Trump. That was pretty cool. I saw a lady with patriotic high heels, like the flag printed on the bottoms of the high heels. So that was super cool. And people get decked out. And of course, we're in Texas. You got the fancy cowboy hats, and some of them even in a group spell out Trump.
All right.
And I've seen a couple people wearing lanyards that say their name on it and then volunteer. So that's kind of cool that you get recognized as a volunteer. And of course, we're at a Bierhaus. So some people are really smart and have gotten something to drink because, with so many people coming in and out of the building, it's leaving the doors open in August, and it's getting pretty warm.
Yeah,
so I can't blame them for getting something cool to drink.
It absolutely is. All right, I'm still playing with the camera stuff here. All right. All right, this is starting to look a little better.
Well, Caroline Kane's getting pretty close to us.
Yeah. All right, people are definitely packing it in. Here we go. So I've got a little stabilized now, but people are definitely packing it in as far as getting an opportunity to kind of crowd in. There is not really a lot of standing room available. Definitely no seating room available. But this is just it's a fun opportunity. It's just really cool to be here and to be surrounded by conservatives. It's really cool to be here and just share in all the excitement of everything that's going on. I mean, we have so many issues, divisive issues in this country, and to be able to come together and coalesce around Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, I think is going to be just absolutely key as we continue to fight for democracy. I hate it when the Democrats say this is the end of democracy if Republicans win. Man, we're trying to make it so that democracy continues. Is really what it boils down to, and that's something
Yeah, we actually vote for our representatives and not just have someone inherit the highest office in the land.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we have Kamala Harris, who is now the official nominee. There was a digital vote that occurred last night, kind of in secret. It's online, digital vote. And, it really kind of just this travesty that she is the Democrat nominee for President of the United States, and she has received zero primary votes. Even from her first run in the 2020 election, she dropped out before the Iowa caucus, and so she didn't receive any primary votes then. She has not received any primary votes now, but just through a bunch of backroom deals, all of a sudden she's the Democrat candidate for President of the United States. And so it's just, it's kind of this travesty. I mean, I think you talked about it was like smoke-filled corridors and smoke-filled back rooms,
yeah, definitely,
and labs and stuff like that. And it's been a wild ride that this has been allowed to happen. But so again, she's never received a vote, and yet she is the nominee. And we'll have to see, how that plays out, because obviously, when we look at what the issues are, this with her choosing, and by her I mean Kamala Harris, choosing Governor Tim Walz. This is the most progressive ticket that has ever occurred on the Democrat side. I mean, absolutely. I mean, what do you think of it?
Well, if you look at voting records, I forget what website it is, but it's the top of the Google search. You look up Kamala Harris's voting record. There's this map, and on one side it has people like all these little dots on it, and those represent senators in Congress. And to the right, you have like Ted Cruz. And then way over here, you have, not Warren, but the socialist from
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
And then to the left of him, you have Kamala Harris. This is not a moderate. Doesn't matter what she says. I mean, like one person that I never even heard of was more socialist. I'm not even going to call it liberal, socialist than her.
Right.
So, I mean, I wish I could just plaster that everywhere. I'm like, do you really want the far left on everything? I think we need to come together as a country and be like, look, we need to realize there are more issues we can agree on than not.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at it and you go to GovTrack, which is a nonpartisan website, we talked about this in our profile of Kamala Harris, but she was rated by the nonpartisan GovTrack as the most liberal senator, to the left of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I think even Axios said it too.
Yeah, and CBS called her out on it, and she laughed and she said, "I think that only Mike Pence called me that," and the CBS anchor had to say no. That's not true. You supported the Green New Deal. You supported Medicare for all. You supported free universal health care for illegal immigrants.
Oh, and she was the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act. It got tied in Senate, and she, being vice president, headed the Senate.
Tie-breaking vote.
Yep.
Yeah. So here we go. So she's this liberal, and she is a huge progressive, and really, with her choosing somebody like Tim Walz, this is just a hyper slide to the left, and they're really going to have their messaging, make up for the fact that the vast majority of the American public don't want something that's that far left. So she's going to have to appeal to moderates and independent voters, and I don't know how she's going to be able to do it.
Well, her campaign's going to give off the essence under this guise that, we're not that, liberal, we're moderate. I mean, right. It's the essence, how they spin it. I mean, it's just ironic that one of her main campaign commercials has Beyonce's Freedom, and I'm like, dang it, because it is catchy.
Yeah, I mean,
even Republicans like Beyonce's music.
Yeah, honestly, I would. We're getting some sounds like some eye of the tiger. So we may actually be getting some movement on the stage, which would be really cool for our viewing audience. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you have just this big, you know, push for all of these policies. I mean, you think about it. Tim Walz, he passed legislation that made Minnesota a refuge for trans individuals. And in that law that they passed, it talks about that if a family, even like a mother, kidnaps their child, and the father is in a different state that has a law that says both parents have to consent to trans a child, do gender affirming care, then all of a sudden what's going to happen is inside that particular Minnesota, they can ignore the laws. They can ignore the laws, and so they'll go ahead and do the gender affirming care without the consent of both parents. If it's just one, it'll just be one. And you know, a lot of this has reported that there is you know, the potential for somebody to you know, potentially have the state take the children from parents who are not consenting to gender affirming care and against their will. And you know, that would obviously be just a travesty.
Well, you know, the whole sanctuary states for trans youth, the kid runs away to the state, and then, you know, they get to stay there and get all the surgeries and stuff paid for. You know, I remember a girl that I grew up with running away from home. I don't know how long it was for. I don't think it was a serious amount of time. But she got sent to, like, juvenile detention for running away from home, like, you know, juvenile truancy or something like that. I'm sorry if I don't know my vocabulary words, but I'm like, that's what used to happen to you.
Right.
Like, you got in trouble. You didn't get hundreds of thousands of dollars of treatment that you really shouldn't have. I mean, like, no, you need to be reconciled to your parent.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, you know, we got a lot of people are pushing in closer and closer. We have people standing in the aisles, which I think is a fire hazard. So luckily some of those individuals are moving along, but still, you know, this has just been, you know, a really cool atmosphere. It's a cool vibe. You know, I can't believe that we actually got it. If you're looking around and you're like, gosh, you know, I don't think you got very good seats. We got great standing room area. Because we're kind of protected by the last row of seats. And the music is pumping. I mean, it is. I really thought when they were doing Eye of the Tiger, I really thought somebody was going to be coming out, just because it seemed like it was, you know, just a good opportunity to do that. But it's still going to be cool. It's still going to be cool. And now they're turning on some lights, so we're going to get some good lighting going on. And yeah, so I think something's about to happen. What do you think, Kimberly?
Oh yeah, they just turned on a super bright light.
and that won't make it any cooler in the room.
Oh goodness, no.
All right, well, we have Kimberly's brother-in-law just sent us a message. We can't read it at the same time as us, you know, being doing the live stream. So, you know, bro, I hope it was a good picture, and oh, they just turned on another light, so I think we're starting to get there. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around so that we can continue to see stuff. Eventually, I'll figure out that the controls are reversed and that up is down and down is up. So sorry about doing that all the time. But yeah, we can continue to see that this is really cool. All right, I'm going to flip the camera around a couple of times because I'm going to need to screw this last screw in. All right, hopefully that didn't make everybody too dizzy. Hopefully that didn't make everybody too dizzy, but you know, sometimes, you know, we're we're not running with high quality gimbals and things like that. We're running mom and pop. So some of the stuff we have to figure out on the fly. All right, but yeah, so we're going to go ahead and flip it around. Caroline Kane is still continuing to meet and greet people. We thought she'd make it our way, but she hasn't gotten an opportunity yet. So we'll ask her. I mean, she may not want to do an on-the-fly interview, but we'll ask her if she'd be willing to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it around to the front facing and get back to us. All right, so here we are back to facing us. Because of the noise, you can tell Kimberly and I, we've removed our mics from our lapels, and now we're firmly holding these things in order to cut out some of the block noise. But yeah, this is pretty exciting, and I'm glad we're here. And they keep adding people. They need to have like another television that shows what's going on up front. But still, again, we're happy all of you are with us, and yeah, I mean, this crowd is electric, and everybody's happy. There's not a single upset person here. Oh wait, there must not be any Democrats here then.
Yeah, exactly. No dour faces here.
Well, I love it. So yeah, so make sure if you're still watching, if you could please hit that like button. We would absolutely love that because it really just helps us out. Again, for those of you who may not know, it's free. It doesn't cost you any money. You don't get signed up for some reoccurring subscription plan or anything like that. It just helps us out and gets us to spread our message, and we couldn't be more grateful. Now, again, we mentioned earlier that we've been doing this now for a year, and Kimberly, has it seemed like it's been a year? I mean, to me, it seems like time is just flying.
No, but I'm not the one who's been doing the editing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been getting better and better. If you may recall, I think I might have mentioned it, I don't know, but if you may recall, the very first episode that we had was an hour and a half long, and it took me 18 hours to edit that video. And I mean, I look back on it, and I couldn't believe that it took me that long to edit a video. But I have been getting steadily better and better and better and quicker. And now I can do an edit in about 4 hours. And so, an hour-long video in about 4 hours. Now I know there's probably some professional video editors that are out there like, for the stuff that you do in your videos, I could probably do that in 30 minutes. Yes, you probably could. You're probably good. You're absolutely right. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. But definitely, having the ability to continuously learn, and I've built some reoccurring things so that I can slide stuff in, which is helping me out. And yeah, it just it's been an amazing year. It's been amazing to spend it with my wife. It's been amazing to learn and really kind of to become better at knowledge about politics, knowledge about the local news, the national news, the international news, and it's just been a huge win all around for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, we cover more than politics, of course, but with being the season that it is heavy-handed politics. Now, some people are like, oh, I don't want to get in politics. It gets really ugly. And I think we have an obligation to know what's going on. I mean, like, which side is going to spend your money the best? Which side is going to make sure that you get to keep as much as possible? Do you trust the government to spend your money, or you? I mean, you know your priorities in life better than the government. So, just on that level, I think that's an easy way to explain the importance of following it. Now, most of my life I didn't care. And Barrett, what was, you seem to care since I met you. What is there a point in time in life where you got interested in politics, or did it just seem like it was in your blood somehow?
Well, no, it wasn't in my blood. Being a military Army officer, we really, you need to have a lot of professional development, and so by having that professional development and being well educated, knowing what's going on in the world, geopolitics, things like that, It's smart for a military officer to be able to intelligently talk about things. All the time, I was doing briefings to general officers. I'd be doing briefings to congressmen, doing briefings to ambassadors, and you have to know what you're talking about. And by being a subject matter expert, the majority of my time I was an infantry officer and a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division. But as I got upper in rank, I transitioned to being a foreign area officer and was stationed in U.S. embassies overseas. And so it really helped by having,
knowing what the policies were,
and things like that. I mean, there was a young private. My first duty station, I was in South Korea on the demilitarized zone, and I was an air assault infantry platoon leader. And I had a private of mine that was saying, I don't even know why we're here in Korea. I don't even know why we're here. And I said, well, it was because of the Korean War that occurred during the 50s. And the war it's not ended. It's not a peace treaty. It's just a truce. I mean, it's an armistice. I mean, the war is still going on, and that's why we're here to have 37,000 troops, American troops there to help slow down a North Korean advance. And he was like, I didn't know that.
Well, I think I speak for him, even though I don't know if he's older or younger than I am, but they taught us nothing about Vietnam War. They taught nothing about the Korean War. I mean, even World War II itself is not that big of a blip on the historical radar that's being taught in schools.
Well, that's too bad, because obviously this individual, this young great American, he didn't know about the Korean War either. And so I gave him an entire high school class in about one paragraph and explained it to him. So it's important to be able to talk about things like that. I was selected at the time to be the battalion's cultural liaison officer to the 4th Roka Infantry Division, which is a South Korean division, and was able to really interact and intermingle with the South Korean military on a level that would not have happened had I not volunteered for this. And I taught conversational English and things like that, and it really kind of just opened my eyes to geopolitical events. And it was kind of funny and going and oh, here we go. We're going to go ahead and turn this around, and we have our first speaker.
Executive Director of the Texas Municipal Police Association. Now, is that better? Yes. Okay. My name's Kevin Lawrence. I'm the executive.
Battery always dead. Technology.
Sounds like Can you hear me now?
All right, here we go.
I had no idea I was open yesterday. I run our statewide police association. Okay, we've got over 30,000 members in the state of Texas. We are also partners with some other folks you're going to meet in just a minute. The Houston Police Officers Union, the Harris County Deputies Organization, the Dallas Police Association, the Texas Fraternal Order of Police, and we're all members of the National Fraternal Order of Police. So we represent over 45,000 cops in Texas and 375,000 across the country.
Where the cool kids are. Another place for him. And Jerry's over.
Someone needs to be. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Could you turn it up for me?
75%.
Going up? Excuse me. Right there's good.
80.
Perfect. Right there.
87%.
Okay.
No place to go.
All right.
You've been sabotaged.
Right.
All right, we're sorry about these technical difficulties, but these are the pros, and so we're in good company then with our technical difficulties that we're having.
Just talk loud.
We apologize about this. Hopefully we'll get going. We'll continue to do some commentary. I'll flip it around towards us. All right, so yeah, they're trying to figure out the microphone situation, but it looks like the crowd is still excited to be here, and we're just so super glad to be here. But anyway, people are slowly pushing their way forward into a space that's non-existent.
So yeah, we were talking about what guy was interested in politics, and yeah, we met with people overseas that were in charge of military, and people seem to understand that people overseas tend to follow us way more closely than we follow them, and yeah, it would look very foolish for them to know something about our government and our policies and how we function, and for you to go in there and not know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And when I was at that 4th Infantry Division, it was really interesting because one of the things they wanted to know right off the bat was what my salary was, and so. I was a young second lieutenant. I was only making $23,000 a year at the time, and they were so disappointed. I think they thought that I was going to be this rich American making $120,000, and so it just been this kind of amazing thing to see that. And then they asked where I was from, and I said Texas. And one of the I think it was the supply officer made a fist with his or a handgun with his he's like Texas, and everybody started laughing. So it was a good time. So anyway, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and flip this back and rotate it and see if we can continue to. Yeah, he's been a good sport up there for not having.
And they have abundant street posts. So they have the fire hydrant for the American dogs and the street posts for the British dogs.
Yeah, he's been a good sport. He's been trying to have his microphones fixed. They did a test, but they're trying to still figure it out.
Looks great. And then we were going to do it last year, but there was a mechanical problem with the ship.
But he is getting a chance to shake hands.
Yeah, so I said, well, we'll just fly to Paris, and because we'd already paid for it, so that's why we were in Paris. And then this year,
And there's still smiles all around. And again, we're so glad to have you here.
And then Boston, we were in Boston for the fireworks. But it's a great ship. It's absolutely good.
Up, we have Justice of the Peace.
Right.
They have the music back on. And we don't want to get into a big story because just in case you need to take a step over to the left because you're going to get pushed out. No.
Kind of an angle. And it is just so much nicer. It's cheaper than online. Well, I mean,
Flip the camera around again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I know. It's, I mean, if it's, maybe a mansion, fly to New York, and then we sail from New York to Southampton. And then we just move back to London. But it's funny because it's like, the cruise costs maybe, we had 2 stations, about 8 stations. Maybe like $2,500 each. For a 7-day cruise. And then the flight back, the one-way flight with United and Polaris was, $6,000 each way.
Sorry for making everybody sick on that.
More expensive than the cruise.
Is your battery dead?
And I hope I'm still recording. I think I am.
All business class.
All right, we are having a little bit of camera difficulties on my end, just because we're getting scrunched, so I can't. It's hard for me to balance this, but anyway, we're so glad that you guys are sticking with us. We still have three viewers that are here, and so anyway, we're going to keep doing our best to travel through this and work our way through this, and hopefully we can do that. Kimberly, what else, from the book? It's a big book. You took a lot of notes. How about you talk a little bit more about his book?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me what got me interested in politics.
Oh, okay.
So I remember being, 8 years old, and my parents worked in the factories growing up, and so did a lot of their friends. And it just seemed like people were starting to leave, factories were being shut down, and I remember Dad driving along the Georgia-Alabama border as a teenager, going, oh yeah, so-and-so used to work at that manufacturing facility, that plant, and it's just closed, back-to-back closed down factories. And when I was like 8 or so, I think Bill Clinton was president and signed NAFTA, and my babysitter was telling me that they were sending these jobs overseas, and so I always grew up kind of resenting NAFTA. Now, Ben Shapiro made an excellent point a while ago, automation also took away a lot of the jobs, manufacturing jobs, which is an excellent point, but moving them overseas doesn't help either. And so when Hillary Clinton ran for president against Donald Trump in 2016, I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want her to be president. And so for the first time ever, Barrett saw me watching debates and just really getting into it. And then, we voted for Trump. And then, he lost in 2020. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just a, plain, boring Democrat. I didn't think Biden would really do much. I didn't think he would make the economy recover from COVID, but I had no idea just the trans insanity would happen and just, the Hamas insanity would happen. I didn't predict that at all, not on my bingo card at all. And so anyway, when Dylan Mulvaney had that Bud Light thing in April 1st, which is kind of ironic, April Fool's, right, I was it was another oh hell no moment. Because any trans person I had seen or met before that, they were genuinely mentally confused person and would admit as such. They were a lost soul, and those people you could feel compassion for, and they genuinely wish they could be normal. And so for people to politicize it and push it on people, it's just evil to me. Like, why would you want someone to be mentally ill? Why would you encourage that? So those are two major things that got me politically interested.
Okay, well that's an awesome story. Looks like they're testing microphones again. And hopefully we can get this show on the road. We've got a lot of people that are anxious in the back over there. All right. Well, like I said, people are being calm. They're being nice about it, which is obviously we're nice people. So it's good that they're able to do that. But anyway, looks like they're getting this microphone situation all worked out. But yeah, that's a really cool story, Kimberly. I mean, as far as where and when people become active in politics, I think is super important. For me, it was a lot of my job, and I had to be up on geopolitics, and so I've always continued with it. But, being this involved in local and national politics, I want to say is relatively new for me. I've more been on geopolitics. Yay! We got... All right, we're going to go ahead and flip this around. Okay, hold on.
Raise the roof.
So my name's Roy. I'm Senator Cruz's political director. I'm also a sound engineer.
Woo!
Just kidding. No. Look, don't a bad tech thing in a good evening. We've got a hell of a law enforcement group here today, and we're going to get started with Kim Lawrence. Okay? Great. And we're going to say back there, Donna. All right, let's try it.
This poor guy.
You said James.
Who said poor guy?
Don't move.
Stay right there.
How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one. But the light bulb has to want to change. I'm going to try real quick before this thing breaks again to just tell you a couple of things about Senator Ted Cruz. I first met the senator when he was Solicitor General for the state of Texas. He came to, this was probably 20 years ago, he came to our conference. And I got news for you. The average street cop can't tell you the state of Texas has the Solicitor General, much less who he is. Much less who that person is. But Ted Cruz came to our conference because he wanted to hear from us what he could do to help us do our jobs better. And he has continued that for all these years in whatever capacity he's been in. I get the privilege of serving on the National Legislative Committee, so I get to go to D.C. on a regular basis. We are always welcome in his office. He always sits down and talks with us. He knows the issues, he understands, he's always got our back. Now, I'm going to tell you, for Ted Cruz, supporting public safety is not a tagline, it's not political rhetoric. It's a state of mind with him, it's a way of life. It's a temper of will. He is all about the top two things in his agenda are always protecting our citizens and defending our republic. And he has never altered from that. Some other politicians, and I'm not going to mention their names, you know
No, go
better than
ahead,
I
mention
do.
them.
They have done everything they can to turn their backs on law enforcement. and stuff, Ted Cruz never, ever wavered. He has always stood behind you. He's always been about making sure we keep our citizens safe, okay? So, we got some other folks going to talk. I'm going to stay up there too long, but I do want to do this. We have endorsed Ted Cruz. We've endorsed him in the past. We will continue to endorse him. We urge you to vote Ted Cruz, but not because he needs a vote, okay? Now, he does. He will tell you he needs your vote, but that's not why you should vote for him. You should vote for Ted Cruz because you and I need his vote in the United States Senate. The next guy, you're in for a treat now because this next gentleman is a Houston Police Lieutenant, past president of the Houston Police Officers Union, and currently vice president of the National Fraternal Order of Police, Joe Gamaldi.
Thank you, Kevin. Brother Mike, let that microphone shit happen to him. My name is Joe Gamaldi. I'm the National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, and I'm honored to be here today with y'all, representing 44,000 police officers across the state of Texas, as we show our support for Senator Cruz. There's a lot of people that are going to be up here that are going to tell you about, oh, why we need to send him back to Washington. And don't worry, I'm going to get there, but first I want to tell you a story about it. A story about Senator Cruz that tells you the type of man he is. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, he sent me a text, not his staffers, him, saying he wanted to come by and serve officers donuts and coffee. Now, I won't hold it against him that he reinforced the cliche of donuts. It's true. We love donuts, especially when they're free. But Senator Cruz showed up, and he showed every single one of those officers donuts. He wasn't there for the photo op. He didn't want to take pictures. He was there because that's his character. That's the type of man he is. That's why it's so important we send people like him back to Washington. That's why you need to be talking to your friends, your family members, your neighbors, making sure that they vote for him. And if you needed even more reasons to vote for Senator Cruz, I mean, just first off, he effectively ended the political career of Beto O'Rourke. But we also sent him back to Washington because we got a law and order problem in this country. And that is, we don't have it anymore. We have an open border thanks to the failed policies of the Biden-Harris administration. The policies, by the way, that Representative Allred supports loudly and proudly, that has led to fentanyl pouring over our southern border, which is the leading killer of Americans age 18 to 49, to the tune of 100,000 Americans dead a year. They are complicit in that horror by supporting these policies. And in case you missed the news, they just released 99 people, dirtbags, on the terrorist watch list from Border Patrol into the United States. We cannot allow this lunacy to continue, which is why we need people like Senator Cruz back in the Senate. In case you don't know, we have a violent crime problem in this country. It's ravaging our urban communities. We've seen over 20,000 homicides in the United States for 3 years running. We haven't seen those numbers since the mid-1990s. We've seen it in our own hometown of Houston. We've seen it in Austin. We cannot afford to have that continue. And in case you don't know, there's a war on cops that is raging. There was 378 police officers shot last year. That is a record number since we started tracking the data. A 60% increase in officers shot since 2018. Last year, highest number of assault on officers in a decade. And I got bad news, folks. It ain't getting much better in 2024. We have already seen 230 police officers shot, which is outpacing last year's number. And for reference, that is one police officer shot every 22 hours in this country.
That's crazy.
So loudly and proudly supports law enforcement and stands by our side. His opponent takes big money donations from George Soros and his puppet groups that support defunding the police. Just like the Harris Waltz ticket. I mean, folks, if we let these people become in charge, it will be an unmitigated disaster for public safety in this country. A disaster. Just like that stuff falling behind me. That's what the future would hold. And that's why we need to support Senator Cruz now more than ever. And folks, listen, let's be clear about something. We're at a fork in the road in this country. And down one path is chaos and anarchy. And down the other is law and order. So I'm asking every single one of you, please join with me and the other 44,000 police officers across this great state of Texas. Let's support Senator Cruz. Let's send him back to Washington so that he can restore law. Thank you all so much for your time. And now I would love to introduce a good friend of mine, a 33-year policeman for the Houston Police Department and the president of the Houston Police Officers Union. Please give a hand for Doug Griffith.
My name is Doug Griffith. I'm the president of the Houston Police Officers Union, and I'm proud to be here today to show our support for Ted Cruz. A lot of things go on in this city that people don't know about. Hey, when it comes to, I guess it's Kevin messed up this mic for me. I apologize. So he's done the senator doesn't just talk about it. He is about it. He comes out. He's come out and met with the HPOU multiple times. He sends a representative every meeting to come and see what we need, how he can help, how his office can help law enforcement in the Houston area. I am so blessed to be part of this organization and stand here before you today and talk about his job, because he does a phenomenal job. He is somebody to look up to and represents very well for the Texas. And I also want to talk a little bit about his opponent. I'm not going to mention his name, but he has a commercial with a couple of security guards standing behind him saying, "Oh, we support law enforcement." Bullcrap. That man has never supported law enforcement. In fact, he voted against the bill to protect law enforcement. And I'm sorry, I can't get behind that. Ted Cruz was out even earlier today at a station providing donuts, and coffee to our officers. And I can't tell you what that means to the rank and file officers of our department to know that we have such an ally in Congress right now. So I want to thank him for being here today. Thank you for his support for law enforcement. And y'all have to forgive my friend Joe. He talks like that all the time, yelling. He's just a little bit north of the Mason-Dixon line. I'm way down south from a trailer park around here, so let's Now I'm going to introduce a young lady that since the 1990s. She was a great prosecutor with the DA's office. She did a phenomenal job dealing with gang crime. I was a gang officer with the police department for over 20 years. She was a prosecutor and put many of these scumbags away as her time when she was a prosecutor of the gang division. She then went as lead of the Crime Stoppers. She did that. Then she was appointed the first anti-gang liaison in the city of Houston. She did that very well. And now she's been 2 terms as the DA here in Harris County. And I like to say she's a dear friend because I've known her for so long. We don't always side politically, but in this we do. I want to invite the Honorable Kim on.
and that's you, hate crime. And they expect, and you expect, government to protect us. And you're right to expect that. But you know, our country's laws and policies don't always work to that end. And no case has spotlighted the crime problem in Houston more than the recent murder of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray. Now, Jocelyn was 12 years old when two Venezuelan nationals who crossed the border in an undocumented way, illegally, they were caught and released. And they came to our town. And they lured Jocelyn under a bridge, probably sexually assaulted her, and murdered her. And what brought Senator Cruz and I together is that back in 1993, we saw this same scenario, and it's sickening. You are right now at a venue right off TC Jester. And in 1993, TC Jester was a nice neighborhood just like this. It was populated by a wonderful group of residents, and two little girls were on their way home from an evening out. They decided to shortcut so they could make curfew and not break their parents' rules. Those parents, Randy's going on, God rest his soul, but those parents are still friends of mine, lifelong, because that case changed Houston. You know, had Senator Cruz's Justice for Jocelyn bill been law today, Jocelyn would be alive. And back in 1993, had we not seen Jose Medellin, also undocumented, here in this country most of his life, but part of a gang that gang raped her and brutally murdered both girls. We have seen this before. We've seen it with Corporal Galloway, a police officer working for Precinct 5, recently murdered in a routine, if there is such a thing, traffic stop by a Salvadorian national. He was executed in his car. Never had a chance to even undo his seatbelt. We are seeing a problem at our border, and I am taking this opportunity to endorse Senator Ted Cruz. And you, Houstonians, are sick and tired of hearing why Democrats can't work together with Republicans for solutions. Americans are tired of excuses and they want us to work together. And isn't it time? Yes! You know, just ask a crime victim. Ask the Erdmans, ask the Peñas, ask the Nungarays, ask the Galloways. It is time that we fix the problems. Crime is bigger than partisanship. I want you to know that our Senator, Ted Cruz, reached out to me as the top law enforcement official in Harris County, the largest jurisdiction in the state of Texas, the third most populous county in the United States, because he wanted to better protect us. And with our conversation came this bill, Justice for Jocelyn. This bill would require those who illegally cross and are captured to be placed in detention when beds are available every time. And if they aren't, then have a GPS monitor and a curfew. But in this instance, Jocelyn will never have the chance to even have that much protection. So we need to protect the rest of our children. We need to work together to do that. I will tell you, crime is bad for people. Ask these victims, ask these police officers about the attack on law enforcement, the underfunding, the defunding that keeps them scrambling. that has cost more police lives in the last 8 years than I remember in my 37-year career. So I stand with law enforcement, and I stand with Senator Cruz on this bill and in this race because he is brave enough to take action now. Hear this, Houston. Hear this. Public safety is more important than political parties. Period.
Great speech. What a great speech by the district attorney. Great speech.
You know, I just about forgot my biggest line. I've got to introduce the senator. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
All right, get ready. Please take a moment to help welcome a lifelong Houstonian, a great Texan, a friend of crime victims and law enforcement, friend of prosecutors, and our United States Senator, Ted Cruz.
We're a little far back. Hopefully you guys can get a glimpse of the senator. There he is right there.
God bless Texas. And God bless the men and women of law enforcement. Let me say to Kevin and Joe and Doug, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for standing up and fighting to keep our families safe. And Kim, let me say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for fighting to lock up bad guys. And thank you for standing with me here today. It's a big damn deal, and I appreciate it. Look, we find ourselves in a time when it seems like the country's gone crazy. And when the country's going nuts, I think Texas needs to stand as a counterbalance. A counterbalance of sanity. A counterbalance of reason. You know, Kim and I were talking backstage just a few minutes ago. It seems like it was only about 12 minutes ago. When everyone agreed you lock up murderers. When everyone, Republican and Democrat, said if you're a murderer, if you're a rapist, if you're a child molester, we're going to lock you in a cell for a long, long time. But I got to say, in recent years, there have been voices in the Democrat Party that have gone nuts on this. Look, 5 years ago, if I would have accused Democrats of wanting to abolish the police, the media would have fact-checked me and said, come on now, nobody is that crazy. Well, not only now do we have Democrats in Washington advocating for abolishing the police, but in jurisdictions all over the country, they've defunded the police. In Minneapolis,
Yes.
in Portland,
Yes.
Austin.
in New York, they cut $1 billion from the NYPD. And sadly, Austin, Texas, they cut $150 million from the Austin police. And you know, it's a crazy thing. When you take cops off the beat, you get more crime.
Why does the state of Texas give $300 million to Israel while the people of Texas suffer? USA! 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 Madam McKinley!
Well, that was exciting.
Things are going nuts. So again, maybe 12 months ago, if we had, or let me just say theoretically, you've got a bunch of racist, bigoted psychopaths that invade a nation in the early morning of October 7th, hypothetically, and they murder 1,200 civilians, and they go house to house, killing elderly people, killing children. They rape women and little girls. Now, in a world of sanity, everyone would say those psychopaths are bad.
That's right. They are.
We now have crazy young people. They're sitting there going, "Yay for the psychos!"
Because they're psychos themselves.
Lock him up!
Look, we ought to stand with real common sense. And let me say, all right, I want to ask, how many law enforcement officers are here today? Would you stand and raise your hand? Thank you. Just this week, my campaign announced the endorsement of organizations across the state of Texas representing over 44,000 law enforcement officers all across Texas. Sheriffs, police unions, on the ground, the men and women that risk their lives every day to keep our families safe. And listen, the fact that Kim Odd came.
Yeah, big deal.
So let's be clear, Kim Odd is a real-ass Democrat. But she happens to believe in locking up bad guys. And I gotta tell you, the crazies in her party, funded by George Soros, just mounted a primary challenge against her because apparently they think Houston would be better if we let a bunch of murderers and rapists go. And this is where we need just people of common sense, whether you're Republican or Independent or Democrat or whether you're from Mars, to say, let's protect our families, let's stand together. And when you combine this assault on law enforcement with the open borders we've seen, it is truly a toxic mess. Look, some of y'all may have seen the speech I gave at the Republican convention in Milwaukee. I got to tell you, for me, it was very heartfelt and real. And the theme of the speech was every damn day. Because we are seeing people murdered. We are seeing women raped. We are seeing children assaulted every damn day by illegal immigrants that Joe Biden and the Democrats are releasing. Look, these names, I talked about Laken Riley. Laken Riley was a beautiful 22-year-old woman. She was studying nursing in Georgia. She wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to help people. She wanted to help heal them and make them better. Well, an illegal immigrant came into this country in El Paso, Texas. He was apprehended. And all that had to happen was for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to follow the law. This illegal immigrant was from Venezuela. Under the law, when you come in illegally, you're supposed to be put on a plane and sent back home. Now, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had followed the law, if they put that illegal immigrant who was in custody on a plane, Laken Riley would still be alive. Instead, they let him go. Now, when they let him go, he went to New York City. In New York City, he was arrested again. This time for endangering the safety of a child. But New York City, unfortunately, is a sanctuary city. So they let him go yet again. Now understand, if New York City had followed the law and kept him in jail, Laken Riley would still be alive. And instead he went from New York City
down to Georgia. And Lincoln Riley was out jogging one morning and he picked up a brick and he beat her to death. By the way, at the State of the Union, you may recall one House member called out because Joe Biden didn't mention Lincoln Riley's name.
Right. Yeah. Come on.
And a House member called out, say her name, Lincoln Riley. Joe Biden responded with Lincoln Riley, who's a college football coach. And then his response, he says, well, yeah, she was killed by an illegal. But legals kill people too. This, by the way, is the Democrat talking point, which is, we have some murderers in America, so it's okay if we let more murderers into America. I got a real simple solution. Keep the murderers out, and the ones we got here, lock them up. Another name that wasn't mentioned in the State of the Union, that hasn't been mentioned, hasn't come out of Kamala Harris's mouth once, Rachel Marin. Rachel Marin is a beautiful mother of 5. Living in suburban Maryland. Now, you might think, if you look at your map, suburban Maryland is nowhere near the border. Well, you know what? Every community in America is a border community now. Because an illegal immigrant who came in, who was apprehended, who Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had in their custody, they let go. Now, what did he do? First, he went to L.A., where he broke into a woman's house, and he terrorized that woman and her, I think it was a 7-year-old daughter, if I remember her age right. Terrorized them in their house. Then he went to Maryland, and he raped and murdered Rachel Marin. Another name. Kamala Harris will never say, and by the way, my opponent, Colin Allred, will never say, is Jeremy Caceres. Jeremy Caceres was a 2-year-old little boy living in Prince George's County, Maryland. He was shot and killed by an illegal immigrant that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had in their custody and they released. In Louisiana, a few months ago, there was a 14-year-old girl, we don't know her name, thank God, but a 14-year-old girl raped by an illegal immigrant that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris released. In Boston, Massachusetts, there was a 15-year-old girl. This case is going to really infuriate you. Not only have Biden and Harris opened the border on the southern border to 11.5 million illegal immigrants, but they decided that is not enough. They launched a program to fly people from their countries into the United States illegally.
They're robbers! They're robbers!
And they've been bringing in over 300,000 illegals a year, flying them in from their country. So in this case, they took someone from Haiti. They flew him in to Boston, Massachusetts. They released him. And he turned around and raped a 15-year-old girl who has severe mental disabilities. He got arrested. He got charged. And a left-wing judge just 2 weeks ago released him with a $500 bail. You rape a 15-year-old girl with severe mental disabilities, $500 in the eyes of the left, that should cover. And I gotta say, the case that we all know of that brings the stakes really at home here is Jocelyn Nungaray. Jocelyn, that beautiful 12-year-old girl, just a little over a month ago. Jocelyn was out, and 2 illegal aliens, both from Venezuela, both had been apprehended by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they followed the law, and they put them on a plane and flown them home. Jocelyn would still be alive today.
Joe Biden sucks!
Hard to argue. Although he doesn't know it. these two illegals from Venezuela. They were in federal custody, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris decided to release them. And they came to Houston, Texas, and just weeks later, Jocelyn was out at night, and these two men lured her out, dragged her under a bridge, violated that little girl, and strangled her to death. Look, over the last several weeks, I've gotten to know Jocelyn's mom. I've gotten to know her grandfather. I got to say, many of us, most of us, I suspect, are parents. The worst nightmare of any parent is to lose a child. There's nothing that scares a person more than losing a child, and an even greater hell than that is to lose a child and to know what the horrors of your little girl's last minutes and hours on earth were like. Look, kids should bury their parents. And I gotta say, Jocelyn's mom, Alexa, she's just 27 years old. She's a young woman herself. She's got a little boy who's too young to understand what happened to his older sister. Every one of these murders, every one of these assaults, they're not just a statistic. It's not just a number on a piece of paper. They're families who, when they go to sleep at night, they cry themselves to sleep. When they sit at the dinner table, they stare at the chair that their baby used to sit in. I've sat in living rooms with families who've lost loved ones as they show me pictures that are stained with tears. And what is so frustrating is every one of these murders, every one of these crimes is preventable. Listen, there are a lot of things that are at stake in this election. But I don't think anything is more fundamental than keeping our families safe. In January, look, I think November is going to be a phenomenal election. I think it is going to be a tidal wave election. I think we need a new administration in the White House. And we need a new majority in the United States Senate. I've spent 12 years in the Senate fighting for 30 million Texans, fighting for the men and women of Texas, fighting for your families, fighting to keep you safe.
Thank you.
When Donald Trump was president, I worked hand in hand with him every day to secure the border. And we achieved incredible success. At the end of the first term of the Trump presidency, we had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. We are going to secure our southern border. And I know that, and I can tell you with confidence, because we've done it before, and we'll do it again. And let me tell you, the men and women of law enforcement, Texas has your back.
We got some excitement again.
me tell you something. It is sad to see how our children are being lied to. Look, those young people are so blissfully ignorant. Do they have any idea that they're here protesting for justice in support of murderers and rapists? Because you know what? They don't bother to learn the truth. They've been told that Israel is bad.
That's that college education for you.
It really is. It's a sad thing. And it is a fundamental lie. And I gotta say, these are the same children that if they were living during World War II would have been cheering for the Nazis. Because understand what Hamas is doing and what Hamas did is exactly what the Nazis did in World War II. And it means we need Texas to lead with policy. By the way, I gotta be clear, you want to understand what this race is about. We saw in the wake of October 7th the vicious anti-Semitism at college campuses all over the country. As they took over campuses, they burned American flags, they chanted, "We love Hamas." University of Washington, they chanted, "Jews should go back to the ovens." This is evil. But let me tell you, we've seen at campuses the radicals taking over. We've seen that in New York. We've seen it in Connecticut. We've seen it in New Jersey. We've seen it in Illinois. We've seen it in Washington. We've seen it in California.
University of
Do you notice a pattern between those states? The states where they're allowed to take over college campuses are all run by left-wing Democrats. And the administrations and too many of the professors side with the radicals against the students being harassed. Let me tell you this. If you threaten Jewish students or anybody else, you should be arrested, you should be prosecuted, you should be campuses, they're doing it in Democrat-controlled states, but they ain't doing it in Texas. They ain't doing it in Florida. And you know what? If you do, if you threaten other students in Texas or Florida, we'll throw your ass in jail. This should not be complicated. We should protect every American. Every student, you know, at Columbia University, the Orthodox rabbi sent out an email to the Jewish students and said, "You should go home because Columbia University is unable and unwilling to protect your safety." That's a fundamental indictment of the woke Marxists who've taken over our universities. And I'll tell you, as I travel Houston, as I travel Texas, as I travel the whole country, every time I see a police officer, I try, without exception, to go up and shake their hands and say thank you. I am grateful, and it's my job to have your back. And I gotta say the contrast. So my opponent, Colin Allred, is an extremely left-wing Democrat congressman. Stay with me. His first 4 years in the House of Representatives, he voted 100% with Nancy Pelosi. Literally did not deviate on a single vote. So if you pick up the newspaper, you watch the news, what do they describe him as? They describe him as a moderate bipartisan centrist. A middle-of-the-road unifier who brings people together. Just like Nancy Pelosi. And understand his record on law enforcement and the border is terrible. So he spent millions of dollars on TV ads saying he is tough on the border and tough on cartels, which is why he votes 100% with Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
So understand, he had a vote on H.R. 2, a bill to secure the border, and all red voted no. He had another vote on the Police Act. The Police Act says if you violently assault a police officer and you're an illegal immigrant, you should be deported.
Reasonable?
Colin Allred voted no.
It is.
By the way, I gotta say, set aside Democrat or Republican. Give me 100 Texans in any city in our state. Let's sit in a room and let me ask you. If an illegal immigrant violently assaults a cop, should he be deported?
Yes!
And anybody who doesn't have their head inserted somewhere it doesn't belong would say, of course. Except Colin Allred and the radical Democrats in Washington say no.
Moron.
Hard to argue. Listen, Colin Allred has repeatedly voted in favor of efforts to defund the police. And he's proud to take tens of thousands of dollars from radicals who are funding the defund the police movement. By the way, he's also taken $80,000 from radicals who are funding the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses. So this is a stark choice. And I'm going to tell you what I think this race is all about, is keeping Texas, Texas. What we're doing in Texas is working. For more than a decade, we've had over 1,000 people a day coming to Texas. You know, there's a satirical headline in the Babylon Bee. It says, Texas is building a wall on our southern border, consisting of nothing but discarded one-way U-Haul trucks from California. But people are voting with their feet. And if you want a tax-raising, small business destroying, energy regulating, law enforcement defunding, open border, pinko commie liberal, then Mr. Allred should take one of those discarded U-Hauls and head back to California. But here in Texas, we're going to be free. Here in Texas, we're going to be safe. Here in Texas, we're going to secure the border. Here in Texas, we're going to stand with law enforcement. Here in Texas, we're going to defend the family.
Yes, sir. Where?
All right, as Senator Cruz goes ahead and exits the area, looks like he's got a small section that's already been predetermined to
Going the wrong way.
small section that's been predetermined to be able to take photographs with them. So that's pretty cool. But Kimberly, what do you think of the rally?
Well, I mean, you never really plan for people to speak out, the radical stuff, like anti-Israel rhetoric. And they respectfully got the guy out of there. I didn't see
and a girl later on.
And there was a girl. Was it also anti-Israel rhetoric? I couldn't really hear her because we're on the other side of the very crowded room. But yeah, the people escorting them out were very respectful. I saw, like it was a girl. Yeah, the guy pushed them out, not physically pushing them. I could see the hands up, so that was really respectful.
It's great here.
So yeah, you never planned for that. A little shocking, but everyone else, all good vibes. Agreed with him, supported him, and if he said, boo for Biden, he goes, it's hard to argue, which is exactly right.
Exactly. Whoop. Sorry, the cameras. People are exiting and bumping the camera. Well, I tell you what, the thing I really liked about Cruz was it didn't seem like. I mean, obviously he has facts and figures that are pre-memorized. Sorry, there's a lot of people just moving around. So a lot of things that are pre-memorized, previewed, things like that. But he was able to go off the cuff as well, and I really thought that was a huge benefit for him to be able to do that. He obviously had the two protesters that were. I'm going to move some stuff because they're already packing up some chairs. So it was really interesting to be able to have that the ability to do stuff and be able to go on the fly. And I thought that was really good of him. Obviously, he's an excellent politician. He's an excellent orator, debate coach, champion, and he really knows how to speak. So it was nothing for him. He had people from the crowd that were interjecting positive messages, and he was able to stop and respond to those as well. So that was really cool. So we're going to go ahead and just do a quick pan so you guys can see the crowd here. It's still awesome, and we'll go ahead and close it down.
You got the lady with the Statue of Liberty.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this special live stream of Azimuth Podcast. It's been a real great honor to be here. It was awesome to see Senator Cruz. It was awesome to spend that time with each and every one of you. So again, if you could hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And until next time, this is Barrett McNabb and Kimberly McNabb signing off.
God bless.
Have a great day.